Before we get into some questions, I would like the viewers to understand a few different things. One, of course, is tort reform is big right now. It's been big for a while.
Sure.
Can you help the listeners understand, and viewers, we have listeners and viewers, depending on how you're seeing this. Can you help them understand what tort reform is all about and why they should care?
Right. Well, all the big business industries are getting together because they want to limit their exposure. Right. If you go back and look at what the personal injury attorneys have done, we've held them accountable in all different things, asbestos, just all different type of cases, lead paint for children, just anything you think about that manufacturing does, we've made it safer by holding them accountable. And they don't like that. Okay, it hurts their profits, right? So they were coming out and saying, well, the personal injury lawyers are ruining this country. They're bringing frivolous lawsuits. I've never filed a frivolous lawsuit. I can't afford to. I also, the law firm is a profession, but it's also a business. I have to pay my taxes, pay my people, and so we can't undertake cases that aren't going to be successful. I mean, not all of them are, but most of them are. So we don't file. And I don't know any attorneys that really file frivolous lawsuits. They usually have merit, and there's a lot of safeguards in the justice system that make sure that cases aren't frivolous. So when people talk about tort reform, it sounds kind of interesting and sexy up front, but when you really get into it, it's not fair for the average person that's been injured.
Okay, so when you say frivolous, let's examine that a little bit more. So just because you don't file frivolous lawsuits, are there attorneys that do, and do they clog the court system? And what is in place to stop attorneys from filing frivolous lawsuits?
Sure. Well, there's plenty of safeguards. Defense counsels can file motions for summary judgment. They can demur. A lot of legal things they can do when cases don't have merit. When you file a case, actually the attorneys have to sign those pleadings saying they have merit under the existing law. Okay. There's filing fees. There's expert witness fees that, the costs are ultimately the responsibility of the client, but the attorneys generally front those. Okay. So we're going to invest in that. A medical malpractice case, for instance, you may spend $50,000, $100,000. Okay, so there's a lot of safeguards built into the system. I'm sure there's probably, like any other profession, there's probably some lawyers out there that take advantage, but I don't know many of them. I mean, most of them are good, hardworking people. So I just don't see frivolous lawsuits. I don't see the system's clogged in any way, shape, or form. All right. The biggest thing is probably the lack of funding for enough judges. But it's not because the lawyers filing frivolous lawsuits. Okay. The cases that I said, there again, in 25, 30 years of practice, I've never filed a frivolous lawsuit. Nobody in my firm has. And quite frankly, I don't know anybody else that has.
So you're saying that when you file a lawsuit, it costs you money to file that lawsuit.
Sure.
And I think that the sentiment of the people that believe in frivolous lawsuits, or not believe in them, but believe that that's part of the problem, it's that companies are paying for things that they shouldn't have to just because it's easier than defending a lawsuit. Does that make any sense to you? I mean,
insurance company's not going to pay my client money unless there's merit in that case. Okay, they're just not. I mean, they're not in the position of just giving away money for anything. They're in the business to make a profit also.
Sure.
Right. So they try to minimize those claims. So I mean, just because I file a lawsuit doesn't mean the insurance company's going to pay. Then I have to take that case to court. And I don't know many attorneys that can convince a jury of 7 or 12 people that a claim is meritorious if it's not. The average person is pretty smart.
Right.
I may be a pretty good attorney, but I'm not going to convince them of something that's not true.
Makes sense.